Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Teacher Ilona and I upload business studies videos for grades 10, 11 and 12. In today's video we'll be looking at COIDA, which is the Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act in the workplace. So stay tuned and enjoy. Please take note that the information in the slides that I've provided in today's video have been provided to me via the government website. I have linked the PDFs down below and put them in my resources at the end of my slides. Please note that I don't take any credit for the information given in these slides. I've used the slides as is for the reason that I want to make sure that the information the students are getting is accurate, reliable and correct. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel for more business studies content. Enjoy. Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Amendment Act number 61 of 1997. All right, so what we'll be looking at today is the purpose. We'll be looking at the impact that is both positive and negative. We'll be looking at the actions for non-compliance, the penalties, as well as the ways that businesses can comply. Let's get started. All right, the purpose. Why did we put this act into place? Why does this act even exist? These are the questions you need to ask yourself when we look at the purpose. So, COIDA applies to all casual and full-time employees who have been injured, disabled, or killed due to workplace accidents or diseases. COIDA excludes employees who are guilty of willful misconduct, such as horseplay in the workplace, employees working outside South Africa for at least 12 months, or members of the South African Defence Force, or members of the police services. So when they're talking about horseplay, we're looking at things if you're working at a warehouse and you're taking the forklift and you're trying to make fun in front of your buddies and trying to look cool. So you're driving the forklift around and trying to do wheelies on a forklift, which I don't think is possible, but we'll go with that insane example for now. So with that, it excludes that. If you're going to do something that is willful misconduct, so you're willfully doing something wrong. But if you're just going about your job and you're doing the correct thing and then you get injured, then this act will include you. The promulgation of COIDA has resulted in the establishment of a compensation board whose function is to act in an advisory capacity of the Minister of Labour on the application provisions of COIDA. The type and severity of the injury will dictate the medical expenses and other compensation that will be paid to employees. Employers make monthly contributions towards the compensation fund, which is based on the number of employees in the workplace, the level of risk to which employees are exposed. So, when we're looking at this act as a whole, you need to remember it's injuries and diseases that happen at work. So, if, for example, you are constructing a roof and there's scaffolding and you are busy working there and you get injured, it includes that. So we're looking at those type of things. If you had to fall from a high story, if you were using the forklift and perhaps the goods fell on top of you, that's getting injured at work. So it's very, very important to remember injuries at work. So you can make a note of that. It's injury specifically at work, okay? Or if you're working with harmful chemicals and perhaps you get an illness from that and you get sick from the chemicals that you're dealing with, then the act includes that as well. So important to remember that there's a monthly contribution to this fund. So should something happen, they'll take the money from that fund to compensate these employees. All right, now we're looking at the impact. We're first going to look at the positive, then we're going to look at the negative. So the positive impacts. It promotes health and safety in the workplace. So it creates like a safety blanket for the employees to know, should something happen, there's a compensation for it. It creates an enabling framework for acceptable employment practices, safety regulations. It covers all the employees in the workplace if both parties, the employer and employee, meet all the necessary safety provisions as outlined in COIDA. It supplies administrative guidelines and mechanisms for dealing with and processing these claims. It provides employees with financial or monetary compensation for any injury, disability, illness that results from performing workplace duties. It protects employees from the financial burdens should an incident occur in the workplace, provided that the employer is not guilty of negligence and has made the contributions to the compensation fund. And COIDA does not compensate for domestic workers. Now let's look at the impact on the negative side. The implementation of COIDA can be time-consuming, can be very expensive, prescriptive, and administratively burdensome, especially the lengthy claiming processes and procedures. Employers have to register all their employees to make annual contributions to COIDA, which may result in cash flow problems for the businesses. So provisions need to be made that there's enough money so that they can pay the employees, pay all the overheads, as well as paying for this compensation. Implementation procedures required by the Act may be expensive and place an additional financial burden on struggling businesses. Employers may be forced to pay heavy penalties if they are found guilty of negligence or not forcing safety measures. So, miners who are working in a mine need to wear hard hats and they need to wear overalls to make sure that they're protected. You could get employers that say, oh man, it's fine, you'll be fine. Rocks haven't fallen on anyone's head in over 30 years. And then they say, no man, we don't provide you with hard hats because you'll be fine. So with that, they can, if something happens and the employer encouraged that these safety measures are not being put in place, then they will have to pay those penalties. South Africans who are temporarily or permanently employed in foreign countries are not covered by COIDA. So should you get contracted to do business in another country, like let's say Uganda, something happens there, then unfortunately, even though you're working for a South African company, you are then temporarily employed by that foreign country, so you're not covered by COIDA. COIDA does not cover employees in the South African National Defence Force. Now we're looking at the actions for non-compliance. The actions regarded as non-compliance by COIDA. So bribing employees not to report the incident or injury based on the grounds of race, religion, culture, language, gender, or sexual orientation. Falsifying information about previous or serious accidents, occupational diseases on the grounds of race, religion, culture, language, gender, and sexual orientation. Failing to disclose all information to the compensation board when accidents or injuries occur for specific employees. So they're like, oh man, it's fine. It was just a small little incident. It'll be okay. Man, we're not going to report it. Because why? It might be too much paperwork, too much admin, too expensive. Okay? So that's a problem. You need to report if there are incidents. Deliberately contributing the incorrect amount to the compensation fund, which prevents employees from receiving their compensation. Discriminating against injured employees when claims have to be submitted. Employers who refuse to submit claims of injured employees to the compensation board. Refusing to lodge the claims of domestic workers. So now we looked at the actions. Now we're going to look at what are the penalties. Should they not be complying with this, Now, what are the penalties that are going to be put in place? Let's look at those. All right, so we're looking at the penalties or the consequences of non-compliance of COIDA. So businesses that do not comply with COIDA may receive a compliance order from the Labour Court which forces the business to comply with COIDA. Businesses who neglect to comply with COIDA may receive large fines for refusing to lodge claims and may even be given a jail sentence or imprisonment, which will be dependent on the severity of the non-compliance. So with that one specifically, think about a workplace. Now you've got workers doing dangerous work and they could get hurt, but you deciding, no, you're not going to sign up with COIDA. You're not going to pay for their compensation. You are doing an injustice to your workers and your employees. And that's why it is even, it can even give you jail time and you can go to prison for it because it isn't correct. As I say, you're doing an injustice to your employees. Businesses may be forced to make large payments if they did not implement the necessary precautions to reduce the accidents or fatalities, nor promote health and safety in the workplace. So again, very, very important. You need to make sure that there are measures in place to try and prevent these accidents. If an accident happens and there weren't any safety measures being taken, then there can be large penalties. Businesses may be forced to pay recovery costs required by the compensation fund, and then employees may take a business to court for not registering with the commissioner of the compensation fund. All right, so now we've looked at the penalties. Let's look at what are the ways that businesses can comply. They can display a summary of COIDA in the workplace where it is visible to all the employees. You get these like posters where it displays all the information. Organize training on COIDA with all relevant stakeholders so that employees know their rights in the context of COIDA, but also to protect and promote health and safety in the workplace. Provide and enhance the capacity to promote health and a safety working environment. Register with Compensation Board and Compensation Commissioner. Pay the required levies to the Compensation Fund. And then report all accidents and injuries or illnesses and fatalities to the Compensation Commissioner as they occur. So as they happen, reporting them. And we've reached the end of the video. Today's video was quite a short video, which I'm sure you all enjoyed. Here are the resources that I have made use of. As I've mentioned in my previous videos, the links are down below. You can actually go and download these resources and download these slides. So it's actually rather nice because you get these slides and these notes firsthand, and you're more than welcome to make use of them. As I've mentioned before as well, they are free of charge. So do make sure you go check those out. Thank you for watching my video. I really hope that you did enjoy it. I know this was a suggested video and thank you so much. We're almost uploading all the acts, so do stay tuned. I will be uploading the rest in the weeks to come. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for all your support and all your help. I really do appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye for now.